So, well, we are gathered, and that's a story by Eric Nash, which I'll be reading out for you. I don't like the dark or the cold, do you? So, close your eyes to the here and now and open them onto this place last summer and the sky of childhood, a vast cerulean haze promising freedom. There are children trampling daisies, weaving chases in and around the shadow-rich evergreens, headstones, and tombs. An urgent buzzing beats against the heat. It bumbles through the kids' bare, bony legs to the timeless smell of freshly mown lawn and the hum of anticipation from the guests. Those pastel parades clicking on tarmac, fanning themselves with clutched vanities as the suited and booted squeeze fingers and the damp collars, their buttonholes at the ready. Hands shake and arms embrace. Celebration always raises the spirits. You notice other things now. Not all the children have plump and rosy cheeks, and there are ladies you know in not so fine linen, moving through the relatives and friends. They will be attending the afternoon service here in the chapel too. Unlike the guests, attendees are never invited, yet they gather nonetheless. Nor are congregations of this sort restricted to a particular venue. The dead, for that is what they are, they can go anywhere. What draws them is energy, a different sort of living memory. You see, it isn't just folk on this side that never really want to let go. And that's why there are rules. The doors, wearing a patina of austerity, are opening. The bride-to-be will be arriving soon. You ever met her yet? I'll reveal a little of what our bride, Emily, wrote in a diary last night. I know I scoffed at the very idea, saying that marriage was for girls without ambition, and yes, okay, I might have said it's a form of slavery. It's different when it happens, though. I realise that it's about doing the right thing, making it proper. And he wanted me. He wants me so much that he got down on his bended knee in the middle of Queen Street on a busy Saturday afternoon to wait for my answer. I don't think he expected me to take as long as I did. His outstretched arm was sagging by the time I gave him my answer, and I had to help him to his feet because his leg got all stiff. I was just savouring the moment, though. Honest. You want to know why I said yes? Because I want him. I don't really care if we're married or not, but, he does, I guess. Besides, tomorrow I'll get to be 9 years old again, standing in front of the mirror in a dress that'll blind Mickey fucking Mouse and his animated castle of Tosh. Oh, God. I hope Dad doesn't get drunk. Reg Skinner is talking to one of the bridesmaids, Ashley Fagan, in the doorway. See? Skinny chap there, with a moustache next to the taller, rather pretty girl with dimpled arms. Let's hear what they're saying. Of course, this may well have been the burial site of many patients of the new and purpose-built asylum back in the 19th century. I did inform Peter of this rather macabre possibility, but apparently Emily had already made the booking, and Peter told me it best to let sleeping dogs lie. Oh, there is an interesting fact about that proverb, actually, which I'll tell you in a moment. Do you want to take a seat, Reg? Oh, thank you, Ashley. But let me tell you that lunatics, as they were referred to, and incidentally the word was spelt with a K, were not often given a resting place in consecrated ground. However, The asylum was constructed within the reach of two wealthy areas, and as we all know, money whispers sweet nothings in the ears of even the most righteous. Where were we? Oh, yes, rules. Yes, there are rules for the intermixing of the dead and the living you see around you. You'll learn them over time. Now, the guests are all seated. A woman you recognize from previous weddings, her wrists and ankles raw and scabbed, is leaning towards one of them. The temptation to revisit what one had is almost unbearable. If she touches, she will not be allowed to stay. Most resist, although they do get awfully close. A single sheet of tracing paper could not fit between the warm bodies of the living and them. You're surprised that the hairs upon the guest's flesh do not rise from such awful proximity. Or maybe they do. Or they don't know won't hurt them, you say. Oh, but wait. The bride is here. Oh, such timeless beauty understated, sparkling beneath the veil. She is choosing each of her steps down the aisle towards the groom who stands rigid, not daring to look. But there are many gazers upon our Emily as she clutches the wide-cut roses with unadorned fingers. Many more than she's aware. That lad you see standing in front of the bride's mother, next to the page boy who's picking his nose. Yes, that lad with the cap that has not quite fit correctly since the mauling, in the same dirt-streaked blazer and shorts that he had on at the last wedding here. Well, if he even so much as twitches towards the bride, grab him. Don't wait for me, just do it. Not so, the man with long hair beside the vicar. What did I say about coveting earlier? He wants to lift our Emily's veil and stroke her cheek. His mouth is open and just an inch away from her earlobe. He'll get closer. Let him. He should know better, and he'll deserve everything they'll come to him. The others, they swarm between the rows. You shift to get a better view of the couple as they vow with open hearts upon 2 rings. All is revealed in the kiss. The guests have departed. While waiting for the wedded couple to emerge, Mrs. Teach, lifelong friend of the bride's mother and godmother to Emily, is holding Harry, the best man, in conversation near a holly bush. Oh, everyone loves a wedding. Emily and Peter's is my 15th. Well, 16th if you include me own to the late Mr. Teach. God bless his miserable bones. Only had one myself, mind you. One was enough. We got married in a time when if things broke, you fixed them. Of course, today it's hard for youngsters, so I'm told. Well, yes, they certainly have got the weather for it, young man. Still, it was proper freezing in the chapel. I know churches are always cold, and there'll be religion for you. But that's not a church. It's a chapel, modern-like. And despite that, my brittle old carcass was chilled to the marrow. Still is, to be honest with you, Harry. Probably won't feel like myself again until I'm walking to the bus stop. There is an absence of pealing bells as Emily and Peter exit the chapel amidst a volley of congratulations. With grins plumping their faces and hands knitted together, they parade through the arch of arms created by both guest and attendee. The latter reach into their pockets, and dirt joins the shower of confetti butterflies. You don't like to make a mess, so you step back. A man you've heard being addressed as Matt is having a smoke. That weren't too bad after all, don't you think? Matt says to the boy sitting next to him on a tomb. His son is about 10 years old. Was okay. Oh, get off the crypt, Ollie. You don't want zombies chasing you. Ollie scowls, but jumps off. I'm glad you didn't find it boring. I saw Grandad. Matt takes a long, deep drag of his roll-up. What, his grave? Haven't been up here in years. They walk in a direction you haven't been before. With another wedding over, you wander back. Not to the bus stop like Mrs. Teach, or to the reception at the King's Arms with Reg, but through the cemetery parkland until you reach your headstone. You know it's yours, not by the name, but by the particular way the forgotten concrete slab has cracked. My audience, you may once more open your eyes to the darkness. The warmth of summer has departed your cheeks, and the chill of the grave once more surrounds us. As you leave us tonight, try not to study the spaces between you and your neighbour too hard. Thank you.